And we're live. Hello and welcome.
Where are we live?
Tuesday night.
We're live. All right. I just checked. We're live. I think I'm alive. I'm still breathing. I'm alive. Yeah.
So how's it going?
Pretty good. It's been a great week.
I have power. That's good.
Yep, that's good too.
I've got internet. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught the end of last week's show, Maddie, but I did a unplanned solo for a while when Crispy's power went off.
Oh,
I was missing you.
What a save.
Maddie rugged me.
Indeed.
No, you didn't. Maddie didn't. Maddie was like, I'm not going to be on for the rest of the night. Goodbye, everybody. And he pushed a button and I went offline. Turned off the power.
I thought your power went out or some of the technical.
It did. I'm just saying Maddie has those extraordinary powers.
Oh, so, okay. Yeah. You're blaming the power issue on Maddie. Yeah.
I'm to blame for everything that goes wrong.
He was so sticky.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
That is convenient.
A special role.
No, somebody ought to be to blame. No, wait. It's DeFi. Wait a minute.
But I'm glad you guys held down the show.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad. We like each other okay. We've had a great week in Pulse Chain for the numbers, eh? Lots of green on my charts.
How's it looking?
Well,
what are we at? More than the stock market?
Your logo's green, dude.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
There's that.
Green, always green.
I know.
But Ink's holding up okay. Pulse is holding up okay. Hex is holding up okay. Like everything's
like just as good as the stock market, or is crypto like a better asset to be in?
That's a good question. Perhaps Crispy is qualified to answer that because I don't look at the stock market at all.
Well, obviously we did better than the stock market if we went up at all.
Is this
7 days.
Is this the crypto show?
We're up 11% on PulseX. 30 days up 35%.
And you're saying the stock market by and large is not up 35%?
I'm just guessing. Nobody cares about the stock market.
Seems likely. Yeah, that would if it was up 35%, people would be rushing around in the streets with no pants. So I'm not seeing that happen.
You want to hear something cool?
Definitely.
I was on stream with the founder of Wall Street Bets today on Mario Nafwal's
channel. Shut up. That can't be true.
There was something like a year and a half ago where I thought I was on with like somebody else from Wall Street Bets, and it turned out that they were an imposter. But this time it really happened.
Score.
I bet you did.
And there were some other bigwigs on that stream too, right? I recognized some of them, but I couldn't really place them as far as the names.
Yeah. Let me share my screen here. But I finally started following people that I stream with there and got a follow back from like a 200,000 guy. So that was cool. Nice. I don't know why that's so small, but yeah,
it's a little Maddie.
There we go.
The guy in the middle there, Jamie Rogozinski. That guy Alex is the one that had like 200K.
Rogozinski.
But yeah, the founder of Wall Street Bets, he's almost up to 800,000 on Twitter. There were a couple guys that like made the movement happen, but that's the guy who actually like went to court against Reddit recently. He posted something about that today. But yeah, I was like, force feeding them this story about the Pulse Chain sacrifice address being recognized by the Strategic Ethereum Reserve folks as being the number 2, quote unquote, treasury, as they call it. We don't per se call it a treasury, but it's being recognized as such among the Ethereum community ahead of Coinbase. So you've got like, well, I should have thrown that image up in here, but I guess you can find it on my other tweet. Of course, everybody in Pulse Chain's probably seen this by now, but the aligned strategic Ethereum reserve aligned companies, quote unquote, the Ethereum Foundation has the most ETH, followed by the Pulse Chain SAC, followed by Coinbase. Wow.
Followed by Coinbase. That's my favorite part.
Yes.
Like we have more than Coinbase.
Can you hear my voice okay?
Yes. Maybe a little bit low.
I don't know. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ was saying something about my voice. I was just asking.
Well, it's a beautiful voice.
It's pretty exciting. I'm stoked about
well, don't make me get all seductive, man. I don't want
to. so we got 228,000 views, as they're called on Twitter, under impressions. In the actually watched category, it's something like 50,000. But I was pretty proud of myself for going on there and not doing the whole soft shell thing that I always do, but just speaking about the news of the day. Richard Hart was trending on Twitter the last time I looked at the website, because of this news about the strategic Ethereum reserve finally recognizing. And so the point that I made on the live stream was that I see this as a turning point in basically the end of tribalism in crypto. And it's funny because the founder of Wall Street Bets then spent all of his speaking time talking about that exact point that I had brought up earlier. And so that's why I have the 5-minute and 55-second clip here on Twitter that I hope people will go out and like and retweet, because I tagged him in it. He's the only one I tagged in it because I want him to take notice of Pulse Chain. And I want him to remember, like that discussion point that I started that everybody else wanted to talk about next. And, that's an incredible narrative to have, that, that crypto is changing for the better. We're not going to be so tribalist anymore. And that means that we can all win harder. So, yeah. Go Pulse Chain.
Yeah, no, that's awesome that there's that many views that are probably mostly not Pulse Chain people. Realistic,
correct?
Right?
Yep.
Cool. Are you likely to be back on there anytime soon?
I get invited more than I attend, but yeah, I hope to keep that relationship going with Mario Nafwal's team. He's like the #1 news source on the #1 news app in the world. So it's a great honor to be on either of his shows that he does. He doesn't do them himself, but his account is like, pumping out the views. And yeah, it's really an opportunity. I'm sure I've been on there about 20 times thus far, but there's also a timing element to all this. Like being on there at the right time in the market is also very helpful to the community. And as I've as I've gone out into the real world and gotten a job, working for Texit Coins, I want to still make it clear that I'm, still have my alliances straight, and like I'm, still taking these special opportunities to help out, our community. And the majority of my bags are still in Richard Hart coins, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So despite what the haters will say, I'm still out here, cranking out the 250,000 views a day when I get opportunities like this.
But what have you done for me lately?
This was this morning, so I would call it this.
You're good for today then.
Okay, thank God. I get so I get the rest of the night off, or what?
No, we need you for the rest of the show.
Of course not.
Yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
Got it.
We're not taking it off.
Nope.
All right, believe in yourself. Good to see you there.
Oh, we got comments.
Yeah, we got some comments.
We do. Happy people.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's a good day when Melv Tony shows up. I don't know. Yavin too. Tam's out here someplace. I don't know. She got buried.
Melv Tony's the guy that always posts the like ICOSA prices and hex prices in the chat, right?
It's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Useful information.
Yes.
He's like a ticker feed.
Yeah. Kind of makes me jealous. So nobody ever posts about two p-hucks.
That's true. I could. But...
Well, Melv Tony, you now have a unanimous, permission to drop these gentlemen's ticker prices.
Oh no, he gets to decide what he wants to put up.
Yeah, well, he can stay on brand with the hex.
He doesn't have to.
I've been very gracious in letting the Hedron and ICOSA prices get posted, so we could get a little favor and get some fire and some 2PHUX in here.
That's fire.
Tam's been posting more. I noticed
a lot more.
I know.
Yeah, lots of cool AI photos and lots of very supportive comments from Tam.
Yes, they're happening.
We need more of that.
Yeah. I mean, like the level of detail and heart that she puts into her posts about hex and staying true to like hex only. It's very inspiring, I must say. She really puts herself out there. Thank you. Thanks, Tam.
I think she's been doing a good job.
Fellow Texan, you rock.
I'm sending you lots of hearts, Maddie.
Digital Money Marcus had a near-death experience, and so we're really grateful that he survived a really scary car accident. I found out about this on Thursday during my Hex Therapy live show. So I want to shout out to him and wish him continued healing and decreased PTSD and all that good kind of stuff that I'm familiar with, first and second hand.
Yeah, that's doesn't sound like a good time at all. Please avoid doing that in the future, sir.
Yeah, he got hit by a drunk driver. So there's little we can do about that. But to just like be grateful for the moments we're given and be grateful when there's a miracle and people survive. So well, so in our 235 weeks, have we covered everything that there is to know about Hex and Pulse Chain? Like
well, there's always something new. There's new tech about Hex and Pulse Chain all the time, right?
Well, there's a lot to do with Hex. Yeah, I'm thinking about this all the time. 18 hours a day.
Really?
Maddie, my juicy lollipop. Where are you there, Sami? Get on there.
I haven't watched him in many moons, so maybe there's something I'm not up to speed on.
No, he comes on to show. You don't hear him? You've heard him before, yeah? He comes here into your chat. You've seen him in the chat, right?
Yeah, he often shows up.
What I'm saying is I haven't watched his videos since like the whole Pete Ice thing. So
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
So, but anyway, go on. You were about to.
Well, no, you've heard him. You've
give me
heard
a brain update.
His little sayings like, "Hey, my little SpongeBob," and you.
Yeah.
Is there anything substantive?
Squeaky pants and all these different things when he talks, right?
Right.
I'm making up new ones. Right? He didn't say squeaky pants. Usually says squeaky chair.
Yes.
There's that kind of stuff.
That's
so no, you weren't missing anything. I was just saying, hey, baby doll, come on, baby doll, come on, let's go. What is new about Hex? Hey, I was thinking about this today with X. Like, what's the point, man? That was like a real question. Like, what's the whole point? I was thinking back about Richard's streams, and maybe we all just heard him wrong. Or maybe we didn't. Maybe I didn't emphasize the things that he really said that were important that I should have emphasized, because I'm like trying to backtrack, like just how many people are just pissed off and upset still that we're still so low in price.
Yeah, that sucks.
And the quote unquote that X is a failure, right? I saw some more stuff on this today in Twitter. Actually, I think Sami had talked about something. That's why it brought me to mind. He was talking about somebody was bitching about Hex and how it was a scam and all that. And then it just made me think back to, so what are the basics again, like in my head? And Rich, I don't ever remember any of the streams with Richard or any of the people that might have been super close to him ever saying, "Hey, you guys should be fanatical and never sell." I don't think he ever said that. In fact, I think he said you should take profit responsibly when the time is right. But I don't think I remember that as being, like, so we have the 10 commandments, right? We write down all these things that we're supposed to do. I'm not sure a lot of us heard that one, or included in the list. Now, if you had been one of the people who had thought that way and done that and had done a pretty good job taking profits in 21, 22, you might be pretty happy right now. I bet you there's some people listening. But if you hadn't taken profits, so you're probably feeling like, man, this is slow. But here's the thing: is it could be months more. I don't want to say how many months, but I mean, it could be months more before we see a turnaround for the things we really like, because you got to run out of sellers, and there's got to be interest, and the chart's got to do their thing, and it's got to cycle through. But boy, wouldn't it have been a lot easier if I had taken profits? And so then that kind of just points out my my naiveness, my naivete, right? Of like, why didn't I think that at 10,000x it was a good time to take profits? Like, what the hell is wrong with my mind?
I don't know what's wrong with your crystal ball, Crispy.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But go ahead.
Well, so we saw it go up 10,000x from the all-time low, and then literally everybody got on camera and said, what if it's 10,000x from the starting price? That's what happened back then. But
it still doesn't change the fact that it was pretty high up in value, and this is a condition a lot of us suffer from anyways, right? Like the fear of selling,
right,
which is the opposite of fear of missing out. I think the fear of selling, like you're never going to sell.
Well, so it comes down to fear and greed, right? And I used to talk about this a lot. Like, these are the only two emotions that you have to master in order to do well, in terms of like price appreciation. And you could be really good at one and really bad at the other, or you could be, really good at both or medium at both.
I'm really good at both fear and greed. Wait a minute. So what's the in between?
Well,
joking,
so I mean,
joking. All right, just
so I mean,
I'm playing into Maddie's analysis hand here.
So an example is like, well, if you think that there's a 50% chance that the top is in, or that the bull market, is coming to an end, like, do you sell 50% of your bag, or are you playing different odds? That's one example of,
I'm rolling the dice one more time. Isn't that how the song goes?
There are lots of songs about fear and greed, fear and loathing, all kinds of stuff.
I saw that movie. But I think the DCA option, like DCA in, DCA out, right? Dollar cost average, like don't sell 50% of your bag, sell 10% of your bag, 5%, but at a more consistent ratio. People are probably safer because nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and the pattern of Bitcoin was like, as long as you bought and held for 4 years, you were always in profit. Well, if you took that approach with Hex, you would have also done really well if you didn't do all your buying all at once, and you didn't do all your selling all at once. But I think that it's a very different psychology for people to be in when they're buying versus when they're selling. Because to buy, you have to be so excited about something, you're willing to put money in that you're willing to lose. And when you're selling, then you have to go against everything that you just fought for. And if you have like group PTSD about it, then then it's going to be a kind of a shit show.
Yeah.
Like you're either going to sell when it's not the right time, or you're not going to sell when it is the right time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think that a lot of this, I think this drives people more towards less community thinking and more individual thinking. Maybe that's okay, maybe that's okay. But I'm just thinking about it, like I got to get mine, like I got to take care of my business. Take care of my peeps. That means I'm selling on your head, maybe. I don't know. You think that's how some people think about it?
Yeah, I mean, look at some people who are model citizens like Tam, who's like appreciating lower prices, even though she started buying, at 40 cents or 25 cents or something.
I really appreciated lower prices after New Year's Eve, 2020. I really did. I don't appreciate them as much now. But I get you. I'm just saying. There's a lot of people that see. I have these streams. I talk about X sometimes, and even though I'm not giving financial advice, it's like the insinuation is I like it, but I'm trying to be intellectually, honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like how can I have conversations with people about Hex? Well, I think and be like, oh yeah, this is a good idea. I mean, it's like it's relentless, the amount of FUD and the amount of negativity. And I even just against Hex, but just crypto, staking. You got to be an idiot to lock up value, blah blah blah. And the only way it all works out is that later we have a significant number of emergency end stakes, and price performance goes through the roof, right? And then everybody be like, this was like brilliant. It's just like on day 32 or whatever, 38, coming in and saying, "Hey, this looks like a really good idea to put $10,000 into Hex." Yeah, at the bottom, it would have been a great idea, but you didn't know that, right? And so the people who did that well, maybe they felt it, believed it, they didn't know, And so I think that's kind of where we are today again. I mean, it's just this big giant leap of faith. But I'm going to add with the caveat that we also have 5 years of experience, and we do have this L1 pulse chain, and there's a bunch of liquidity out there, and there's a lot of really interested people. So perhaps it's not the same in that way, but I think at least the same type of opportunity is here. And I don't know if it'd be exactly the same access, but I think the opportunity is there. But it comes all the way back to that we now have the product, Hex, with staking is now comparable and competes directly with bonds. I mean, treasuries. Doesn't know. I mean, you do the same thing, except instead of getting paid in dollars, you're getting paid in Hex. And currently, at the current prices, assume these are the all-time lows forever and ever and ever, that's going to turn out to be a hell of a good deal, I think. I don't know. But anyways, you were asking about Hex, anything new. These are the types of things I'm thinking about, because damn, I can tell you, I can't find anybody interested in staking. I mean, if there's a few people, there's a few. I shouldn't be like 100% in one direction. There are some people, but we're getting like 2 or 3 Quattro Cincos, a day. Right, which is
maybe the landscape has changed, but there's things like Maximus DAO as well as actuator protocol where people are staking in different ways or participating with stakes in different ways.
That actuator is awesome. And yeah, and dude, have you seen the discounts on the Maximus and the Deci?
I haven't looked lately. Is it good?
Oh yeah, I saw one the other day, particularly the E version. Oh my god, it was crazy. But yeah, I agree with you on this stuff. Sorry to interrupt. The actuator protocol is like, it's insane just how useful and valuable that could be. And we've been trying to get that. Yeah, I'm not part of the team, but I'm using it, so I'm trying to get the word out about it. But it's very hard, right? Because like people are like, why would I stake? Well, in this case, if you're going to go use actuator, you're going to do hex in one shape or form. You're going to get 50% APR. Right, because they do farming over there, right? So you get the farming rewards. 50% is 50%. That's pretty good.
Totally. The well, I think we touched on this last week, but the ICOSA V2, possibly pending, according to Alex, could be a cool thing too, right?
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be a game changer, but no promises because I don't even know, man. I don't even know what it's called.
Exactly. Yeah. No, there's a lot of assumption there, to be sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah. My speculation is I will be able to spend my EHEX and HEX like water for things I really desire and want that only go up in price. That's what I think. Yeah, something like that.
I like that speculation. So you're speculating that there'll be more liquidity by the sounds of it.
Yeah, boy, yeah, there would be more liquidity. Yeah. Well, people, liquidity is a big thing. When you look at the, all the perpetuals have this little bit of trouble with the liquidity, because people aren't going to put up their liquidity just to lose their units, right? They don't want to do that. And so market making these is a little rough. Like you got to have a special place in your heart for it, to do the market making. Yeah. So both, all of those are pretty thin in terms of liquidity. Icosahedron is pretty thin. Now that's pretty positive though, because what it means is if you're a seller, you take a ton of slippage, right? And so you're giving up units, which you're likely not going to get back. You could, but you're going to overpay for them to get back. But if you're a buyer, you can push the price against the sellers pretty hard. And take it out of their range forever and ever and ever, because at some point at a higher value, somebody will drop an LP out there, boof, and it's just not going to come down to whatever numbers you're at. Accumulation's hard; it takes time.
Yeah, agreed. Takes time, takes balls, right? Because the time when you should be accumulating is the time when human nature makes you want to sell, but oh no, the price has gone down, I should sell before it goes down further. Like that's your automatic emotion, when really you should be, biting your tongue and
at this point I should have 200-pound balls, man. 400 on each side, stainless steel. I've been buying for so long, But yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, that's the idea, right? That's the idea.
Check out that ETH price from Meltoni, 106,916 BTC, 2,500 and change ETH.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Indeed.
I think you can wake up overnight and see ETH at 4K. It probably won't happen tonight, but I mean, it's not like it's a hard.
I think once the staked ETH ETFs go through, it's going to be like happy moon time for ETH.
Or the opposite.
I think so. Right. Like sell the news. Yeah.
They'll go the other way. No. So, Maddie, the new hex is the same as the old hex. Staking ladder. Long term. Right. Scrape your rewards. Restake. That's it. That's it. And then you can do all the other things that come with it.
I mean, it sounds like the move is to buy Deci now over Hex, because at an extreme discount, which
but you can only get $1,000 of it, right? So no, I mean it's okay for little players, but I mean,
where'd all the liquidity go for that?
I don't know where we're all. You have to go check and see what the slippage is. I'm just throwing out like weird. Like
somebody could set a limit order and buy it at whatever price they want.
Yeah, but it's not good advice for like the whole community. Like, hey, where should all these fish be going? Where do we want all the cats to be herded? Hey, everybody put a limit order for Deci. Well, that ain't gonna work out, right? But what they could do is they could all DCA into Hex. I mean, the Hex is. I mean, I don't know. Last time I looked, it was less than 500 million now on the market. Is that true? Anybody know? Melv, Tony, where are you? How much Hex is on the market available for liquidity? I don't even remember. I think it was like that, something like 500 mil. So it's not that much. Like even us here in this this group, we probably could all go out and buy Hex and make the market move. We certainly could make the Deci price move. That's for sure.
Yeah, move it back to parity at least with Hex. Not even how much it's accrued, which is twice that, and then so yeah, I mean, like that's the best deal till that's done, like obviously, yeah, you can't buy $100,000 worth right away, but if you're like a normal size participant getting into Hex, like that seems like a pretty good deal because if it's, I mean, I haven't looked at it right away, but I mean, typically it's at a 50 or 75% discount to how much Hex it's accrued.
Oh, look at the price.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'm only getting like 1% slippage on $1,000 Deci buy. Get 120, almost 123,000 Deci for $1,000. That's P Deci. And if I change it to Hex, let's see what the number is.
Yeah, $1,000 buy is that's for ants.
Yeah, I only get 111,000 Hex for $1,000. So that's like.
What's the price per Hex? What's the price per Hex?
Price per Hex?
About a penny, a little bit less, 0.9.
No, not what is the price of Hex. What's the cost of one Deci or one Maxi per Hex?
Okay. Well, let's find out.
I see.
I think that is the most direct trading.
It's like 1.3 based on what you just said. Something like that. 1.2.
Yeah, 1.2 about.
For Maxi.
And then, well, for Deci, and then you have like a 70% higher number of Hex that you've accrued. So you're like based on accrual.
So is one Deci cost 1.2 Hex, or is one Deci 0.8 Hex right now?
0.8
getting for like 1,000 Hex, you get like 1,120 Deci.
Yeah, deal, man. It's way discounted.
Yeah.
It's cheaper when it should cost more in theory, right?
Yeah, I think we saw something last week. Somebody sent me a note about Maxi, about eMaxi and eHex, same thing, like super discounted, like it was ridiculously discounted. But in my opinion.
Hey, we got an interesting question in the chat. Falcon Crypto says, sorry, Dust Bomb is blowing up my DMs here.
Pulse Jitsu
is fast rolling panel. What is the best token on Pulse Chain to bond liquidity with for a new token?
Pulse X.
Not a bad choice.
Really? Seriously?
I would say Pulse.
You want to fight? Is that what you said? I'm not doing any of that stuff. No, I'm not going in the ring, man. You guys go in the ring. I'll hold the placard up.
If it went more than one round, Maddie might take it because I'd get tired.
Yeah. I have a more detailed answer than just Pulse X. So Falcon Crypto, it would depend on what your goal is. by putting up the liquidity and what your goal of your project is. If you simply mean which one will make it go up the farthest, PulseX probably pretty good choice. But if you want it to go up while it's actually trading, that isn't the only thing you need to do, right? So see a lot of this crypto stuff. Can you believe it? People look at the charts, and if they don't see what they expect to see, they're not interested in it. Right? They don't like it. So you can make something go up automatically by being, tied to PulseX, but have nobody interested in it. And it might not trade, and then you won't have the adoption, and people won't necessarily add more liquidity to help you. All right. So that's one thing. But it's just kind of generic terms. You want the price to stay stable-ish. Make it a stable coin, as your primary liquidity. And then you want it to trade. It's got to be with Pulse. You want the price to go up, you do PulseX. And then you could do exotic stuff when it comes out. Like if you see something that's really tearing ass, like today, you go drop a little bit of LP out there for the token, so that it'll drag your token around that you're trying to support. That being said, there's a really smart guy by the name of Sonny the Detective. I talk about him sometimes here. Taught me the rule of 3. Okay, maybe it's not so advanced, but it's a pretty good rule that you need to have at least three pairs. Okay, you need at least 3
why
pairs.
Is that? What is the rule of 3?
The rule of 3 is 3 pairs. So there's places for the ARB bots to actually do the ARBing. And
okay.
See, technically you could argue that more is better, but there's probably a sweet spot for everything. But the rule of 3, 3, and I've seen this because you put one pair out there, sometimes you don't even get hit, man. The only time it'll get hit, particularly if you go like with Pulse, the only time it'll get hit is because PulseX owns a little bit of it too, and it'll route through it, right? Because there's a little bit of liquidity handled separately, and somehow in that code it'll run Pulse, because there's no other reason to run Pulse if there's no other source for the token, right? So you have that going on, but you have to do that, and the core tickers plus DAI from Ethereum are the tokens. And it varies. Those are the ones you want to be paired up with at this time, this epoch that we're in. That's what you want to be paired up with. You need the Pulse because it's the token, the gas token. The Hex runs faster than Pulse on the regular. PulseX is gaining on Pulse on the regular. Ink is a wild card. Then you just that could drag you either direction, and so you can adjust accordingly if you're trying to support. So that's my answer. Maybe a real long answer. Sorry, guys. But
so why did you say DAI though? Why do you want DAI?
Well, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I want DAI. What I'm saying is, apparently the chain likes DAI a lot. And so when I observe, particularly in the lower times when people are moving back and forth to safety, there's a lot of demand for DAI.
Okay, so it's going to make swap volume to have
be
paired with DAI.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's not going to make the price go up.
But you don't think it'll hold the price down though, if we're like in like a time when things are going to go up?
Yeah, to its ratio, sure. I mean, it could slow things down. Like I said, there's a little bit more advanced science to it than it's not, hey, you should go put $100,000 with each one, but go look at Pulse and how it turns with eDAI, man. It's just like spinning moneymaker, man, for the people that have the LP.
I can see that making sense.
But most of that's on V1, so it's just burning PulseX, which goes back to Maddie's answer, right? Which is, hey, well, if we're going to burn 5% of the PulseX every year, I guess maybe we ought to be doing that, right?
Oh, fair enough.
Gang.
Good strategy.
Gang.
I could see the DAI thing with like right now, like if I was pairing something, I wouldn't want it like 50% paired against DAI, but maybe 5% paired against DAI because it's going to get that trading volume, which might exceed the amount of drag the DAI would put on it in a up only time, right?
Yeah, and I think I think honestly, there's not a model. If for supporting a token, I don't think there's a knowable model like in advance that you could be like, because I've worked with the AI on this a bunch. I don't think you can be like, hey, it should be 40% pulse and 10% hex and 10% pulse hex. There's just no way to know because all of the different tokens are out there, particularly if you got a new one that came out. You don't know where the demand's going to come from. It makes a difference. It makes a difference who the users are. Right? I mean, are they the kind of user that goes 2 fucks or over to fucks and do their own swaps? Are they the 9mm guys?
Right.
Are they Piteous guys? Are they people that tend to work on 9-inch? And then the choices you make affect that too with the liquidity, right? Because like you might have it's really kind of interesting, right? You might have a pair on 9-inch that gets volume because there's something else on 9-inch that it likes to interact with. Why? Because there's somebody else who's going through those for some reason, right? And they like using 9-inch and they push the 9-inch button rather than going to an aggregator.
Do you know what percentage of Pulse Chain's volume goes through aggregators, like Piteous, for example?
No, I don't have a number for that. I bet you Danny over at Piteous could tell us. So. But I would say that, I'd probably just guess and say 60-40. Like 60% is going through PulseX direct.
Yeah.
And maybe 40% through aggregators because people are pretty sophisticated on chain. But again, there's some opportunity there because not everybody does that. A lot of people just go right to PulseX and just
totally, yeah.
Which
if you're only trading Richard Hart tickers is not necessarily bad. Often that could be the best deal, but not always, just often.
Yeah, I lean a lot heavier towards, and it's almost never the best deal. It might not be a hurtful deal, though. And if you want, meaning it might not be, sometimes when I say that, it's like,
I guess it depends on volume too. Like I'm talking like $1,000, just like a casual buy.
Yeah.
Like you can do pretty good there. If you start talking $40,000, like there's a very good chance that will not be a good deal.
But you miss out. You miss out on the p-hawks, man. So it doesn't go through the p-hawks. And then
exactly
for the guys who were really into the whole 9-inch thing and the solid index, it misses all the tokens over there. And so it just misses out on pieces of it. Now sometimes it might just be fractions of a fraction difference, and other times it's substantial. In percentages. So.
Well, the nice thing I like about Piteous is they have that show root button where you can look and you can see. And if it's going through 100% of this trade is going through PulseX, then you can just go to PulseX and make that trade. But if only like 40% is going through PulseX and the rest is rooting all over the place somewhere else, that can change the number substantially.
Yeah. Well, they got that button on PulseX too, right?
Which button?
Do the same. The root button.
Yeah, you bet. Except for obviously it's only going to show rooting inside PulseX, like through different pairs, of course, but still not the same.
Yeah, I'm probably in the category of too smart to succeed with this stuff, but I do find it really interesting because I'm playing around with these different types of liquidity, trying to understand how this will all naturally work. I'm good with trying to do that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to figure that out with different tokens that I've seen out there, and just kind of nailing it down, because there's I think there's something missing, and I dare say that there are a couple protocols, 2 or 3 protocols that are going to bring it, and what I think is missing is something better than the constant product formula of an AMM. Now, I think it's ingenious. I didn't come up with AMMs, and the constant product formula, but I think it's ingenious and I think it's great. And it is what provides a lot of opportunity for market makers. It is, right? Because that spread means there's slippage when people do bigger sells, right, and buys. And because that slippage exists, that means there's room in the market for somebody to take profit. But it's not efficient. you know,
and so
I think, and we see this with V3s, right? Why a V3 with a single tick on either side of the price do so well, and percentage wise, is because that is the best deal. So you have this like range of what it's costing, and the aggregators are recognizing that little sliver is the best deal.
If the fee is set low enough, for sure. Like there's that's the other side of it. If you set a 3% fee, maybe it's not the best deal, but if you're talking stable coins with a tiny fee and it's like a 0.1% tick to either side, then yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we used to typically see those at the 0.005% anyways. But what I was going with this with technology is you have coming soon, right, is Tide, right, coming from the 0x Coast guys. And that is going to be a fork of Balancer V3.
Yeah,
that is going to, and see, not all of us are going to be able to figure this out. It's going to be hard for me to figure it out, but that will allow people to put in some very customized solutions for liquidity, including just hooking into the new application once it's up and running, and using their own back end, front end, whatever, to do it all. That will mimic some of this stuff. And then you have things like the Tetra guys building out, this plug and play, drag and drop methodology to be able to kind of like manage these inefficiencies. And then we've got the UpX guys, they're coming out with LPX.
Yeah,
which is a market making tool, which is kind of similar in that it's trying to manage the price, and provide that efficiency to the market. And then I've heard some of the advanced bot guys talking, and some of them are literally, I don't know how they can actually make it profitable, but some of these bots, when they recognize the trade's coming, they'll actually drop LP in.
Really?
Before the trade.
To capture some of the fees?
Yeah.
They must be holding that LP in advance.
I like I said, I don't know how it's happening. I have to, somebody out there might be able to tell us, but I mean, they're actually adding LP as it's occurring, and then after the trade, withdrawing the LP.
Wow. Okay, that's
hard for me to get my head around that and what that means.
They must be holding both sides of that LP token, though, right? Like, there's a lot of transactions going on there. But if they're running their own like node or something like that, like some of the sophisticated bots can do a lot of things in one block, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing. The whole idea is they're just doing it all in one block. Actually, sometimes in one transaction, not even one block. Which is crazy that even can.
Yeah, you can get into flash loans and that kind of stuff. It's above almost everybody's head.
Yeah, they're definitely above my head. All right. So, hey, Fast Abdul, thanks for bringing that question up. That's from Falcon Crypto.
No problem. That was exciting.
Oh, Digital Money Markets has a good question, Fast. This is one I think you handled the other day. In my really myopic, asinine view, I was like, no, crypto exchanges aren't going to do it because they're going to have to buy all the tokens. So I was thinking that, right? And I was like, why would they do that? They didn't get them for free, right? But then somebody, I don't know if it was somebody we know that was talking about it. I don't remember if it was you, but was enlightened me that the real process in exchanges, because I'm not part of an exchange, I don't know. I only read what other people read, right? That they have kind of a methodology that they go along with, where they take a loan or something of that nature to borrow to get the tokens that they need, and they have like an inventory fulfillment system. Go get the tokens. It was kind of interesting that could be the case, right? But so there's different methodologies that they do it. So they don't typically have to go buy it off the exchange. In fact, one of the examples, it kind of goes back to this bot stuff we were talking about. One of the examples that was cited is, like, let's say you could be on Coinbase, right? I don't even know if they have this technology. I assume they do. But let's say you're on Coinbase and you said, hey, I want to buy Hex. And everybody goes, well, Hex isn't listed there. Well, they could list it, know what the price is, because DeFi is DeFi, and they could show the price on the screen, right? And what they do when you press the order button is they go out to the DEX and buy what it is you want and bring it back and give it to you in Coinbase, right?
Yeah, that works. I've heard that some people, some of the big exchanges have like community members that provide the liquidity as well, right? So they could make a deal. Well, like we'll list you if you have someone come on here and put up like 400 grand of liquidity without actually giving it to them. It's just bringing it on, and that person would benefit somehow from participating in that way. You know, similar, but in a much more centralized fashion to providing liquidity on Pulse Chain.
Yeah, that would be called the market maker, right? Or a market maker. That's an example.
There we go.
You know, in fact, somebody was talking about that with one of the new ones that had come up, that they're going to require a market maker. You know, somebody who's going to put that value up, you know, in tokens.
Almost certainly. But like, as far as paying like the $500,000 listing fee to get on Binance or what have you, you know, like, would it be worth it? Like, it might be. Might be. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I want to say they just have to go buy it themselves. Here's the contract address. You know, decentralization. Feel free, right? But
I have a website. I have a web page. You guys can get on the list.
Sure, why not?
I'll make the list. Oh man, yeah.
But like it comes down to marketing to some degree, right? Like you're buying. What are you buying? Well, you're buying advertising partly. You're buying exposure, and you're buying a service. Like it's convenience. You know, it'd certainly be convenient to have large centralized exchanges list all our tokens, so there was great on and off ramps, and it makes other things cross-chain swapping and stuff like that will often move through those, like things like Portal X by the Power City team would likely have a connection to something like that if people are swapping from Solana to Pulse Chain, and it could move through Binance from Solana to Pulse Chain and then to your decentralized wallet where you hold the keys, right? Like it's, there's utility there, even if it's not our favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Digital Money Marcus that with how loud our community is, once one exchange lists Pulse Chain, like one of the big five or big three perhaps, that the others will follow suit because they'll be like, whoa, so much volume, so much free audience. It's going to be a winner for the first guy, and the other guys will be scrambling to catch up. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty accurate when it hits. I was looking at. I think it's going to be true. It does make you wonder. It's kind of scratching my head when I'm looking at Robinhood, for instance, and I'm seeing like these weird memes listed, not just Doge and SHIB, but like other weird meme like stuff that people can just buy there. And I'm thinking, like, how does this even come together, man? That we can see that show up there, but then these other 500 tokens we know about that have been around and seasoned, that not necessarily even on Pulse Chain, they're not available, and so it probably comes down to another combination, who and what value is there, where they think there's opportunity. Sometimes like Digital Money saying is how loud we are is what'll make the difference. Like I can tell you, I've sent Robinhood, emails and filled out the form for Pulse Chain, right? I suppose if we had enough people do that, maybe they'd pay attention. Maybe not too, right? Because there's no guarantee. But sure would be cool, man. I'd like that. I'd like that on my Robinhood app. Hey, Robinhood, list it, man. I'd do it. I'd set up a DCA right away. Click, click, boom, boom. You just get that going.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Oh, hey,
I think we have to look at, like, you know, we surround ourselves with experts all the time. So like you have to look at somebody who's brand new. And like for me to explain to, you know, somebody like my father-in-law, like this is how you buy pulse chain, it would change the discussion quite a bit if it's like, okay, well, you log into your Binance account, you buy it here, and then you press send to this wallet I set up for you. You know, like it would be a lot fewer steps.
Mm-hmm.
More questions from the chat, please.
We didn't get any ransom demands for Maddie, did we?
We did not. Not as of yet.
Not yet. All right. Well, I know you have. You have a hard stop. I know you have a hard stop in 20. So I was asking.
I'm on with the Power City guys in 20 minutes or so.
You can't do that. You tell them to wait. This is the Maddie goddamn all-in show.
That's true.
I don't know what show this is anymore, but I really appreciate you guys always stepping up, and yeah, like we've reduced the format down to about an hour, but oftentimes you know, you guys take it away for longer, which is great. I'm probably gonna have to hop off now, but yeah, as always, you know, here we are showing up every week and spreading the good word about Hex and Pulse Chain and PulseX and even Ink sometimes.
Even baby Ink. Little baby Ink. All right. Well, I suppose I'm going to have to go watch that stinking Power City video now stream.
I'll spam it all over your chats.
And I'll heckle the fast of the. Actually, I'm just joking around. I got no animosity towards anybody. Just joking around, Power City guys and girls. And
Jesse can take care of himself. Feel free to address him directly.
Who, Jesse? Oh yeah,
he'll be on there.
Yeah, I'm not addressing Jesse. He's good, man. He's good.
Yeah, he's a good talker.
Now, I would enjoy you guys doing a sparring session, but
that he spent some military time.
I know.
That could be a rough day.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So.
But I'll argue with him. We could do that.
You could do that. P die to $1, the two of you. That would be a funny debate between the two of you.
Which side do I get?
I know, no kidding. Well, you'd have to pick a side.
I could argue anything if you pay me enough.
Oh, that's the whole purpose of debate club, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's fun sometimes.
Ooh. Oh yeah, good question. One final question, though, sir. Digital Money Marcus is saying, hey, where do the stables exist? Stable token, I'm assuming, when I bridge them over from Ethereum. Well, they're still on Ethereum. However, you have a representation of them.
That's right.
On the Pulse chain. And it's a kind of an IOU. If anybody ever sends that back over to the Ethereum side, you'll be able to get that stable.
They live in the bridge contract, right?
Yep, they do.
Locked up tightly.
Yeah. Marcus, I know this is a whole big topic we're not going to get into tonight, but this whole stablecoin thing, boy, does it stink to high heaven? You know, government trying to come in and basically it's the good old boy club, right? Like, hey, if you're on the inside, you get to do anything you want. Here you go, but you got to fill out this form, right? And yeah. So we'll see where that goes. For everybody else listening, don't know. I don't have all the details about the act, but people have been talking about a new potential law. What do they call it? The genius? Like, who would call this the genius stablecoin? Bill, like, where the hell does that even come from? But anyways, with some new rules, I have seen some things coming out today suggesting there's going to be some period of study that needs to be done before this would even get enacted or voted on. So,
well, good deal. Yeah, we need lots of geniuses to make sure that the stablecoin stuff doesn't stink. So cool. Well, do you guys?
I haven't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Do you guys want to keep going, or want to?
No, Fast has a hard stop, and so
yeah, I got to jump on another stream here right away.
Let's go ahead and drop.
Right on. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe button. Share this out. Until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
Peace out.
Can we get an outro?
You could. Yeah. You could.
Something calming,
please. I'll be at the Bitcoin conference later this week / next week in Las Vegas.
Cool.
Come check it out. Hit me up. It's gonna be a gay old time, and I don't know. Got a vice president coming out there or something.
I'm not sure about the gay old time, but that's your business. That's cool.
Well, yeah. So that'll be cool. So with that in mind, here's an outro that probably will get a copyright strike and undo all the good things we've said here, but it's from the last Bitcoin conference 2-3 years ago. Peace.
Hello, I would like to interview you for my YouTube channel. Hello, what is your favorite dog coin? I heard that there are many good dog coins. Thank you for inspiring a generation of cryptocurrencies.
I think that guy's biased.
I can't thank you enough.
Seems like he has really long hair.
How come you can't hear me?
We brought like 100 people out to that.
MATI.
Maybe it was the next year. That was epic.
And I brought my DeLorean here.
You a Hex guy?
Yeah.
Are you a Hex guy? Yeah.
No way.
Well, my company, we finally listed Hex. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Did you know?
Tell me more about
that.
Tell me more.
Pierre Richard, Natalie Brunel, Jimmy Song, Robert Breedlove, Anthony Pompliano, Bobby Lee.
Nice hoverboard.
Oh, you're wearing that life jacket for a reason.
Maddie Allen the dog. All right, shut it down. That's not a thing anymore. Don't go to that website.
That was pretty cool.
And we're not out yet.
There we go.
Wow.
Not out.
This is what I should stream to my audience. I should just